Starting offensive tackle Austin Jackson is sidelined for several weeks after a practice incident. Nothing dramatic, just someone stepped on him. But even these small moments can create ripple effects. Despite the setback, everything still points to a return by September 7th, season opener against the Colts. It's almost too neat. Coach McDaniel insists there's no connection to last year's knee injury that ended his season prematurely. This is a fresh wound, separate from the past, they say. Jackson had a stint off, then came back feeling sharp. McDaniel went so far as to say he looked better than before. Maybe this break is actually a recalibration. If that's true, what seems like a delay might end up being the reset the line needed. And then there's Germain Ifedi, the veteran brought in to fill the gap. No headline stealer. This guy has been the invisible hand many never notice until he's gone. 90 careers starts across Cleveland, Chicago, Seattle, all over the line, both guard and tackle. He's not here to shine. He's here to hold the line steady. That move says everything, or maybe nothing. But in a world fueled by highlights and hot takes, this is deliberate restraint. It's about maintenance, reassurance. When you're building a machine, you don't scream about the oil and screws. You quietly tighten them. The roster keeps shifting. Quarterback Brett Gabbert gone. No surprise. But returning to the non-football injury list is safety Ifeadi Melifonwu. And that's more than housekeeping. The secondary is already bleeding. Kader Kohou's down for the year with a knee. Ashton Davis is out with a leg injury. Melifonwu wasn't supposed to be the one to carry the load, but now he's holding more weight than anticipated. He's back, and regardless of whether he's closer to 90% or just 60%, they needed every arm they could get in that defensive backfield. This is not about ideal matchups. It's about simply lining up and limiting the holes. And then there's Jaelan Phillips. After shipping away 2 seasons to Achilles and ACL rehab, he gets a bruise in practice. Not a tear, thankfully. No need for surgery. Just a bruise. Still, one name followed by injury after such a calamity invites a collective flinch. McDaniel says he'll miss a few days. Let the swelling go down. No long-term flash alarms. Yet the question lingers. Is a bruise today another flare-up tomorrow? So let's breathe it all in. You've stretched your starting offensive tackle. You pin your hopes on a journeyman stepping into your protection schematics. You slot a returning safety into a beat-up secondary. You hope a 3-year rehab project can stay upright through another minor hit. Does it feel like control? Or a team holding its breath and inching forward, hoping toughness and luck hold steady? Because that's the undercurrent. The margin here is narrow. If Jackson misses too much prep time, that tempo at the line is off. If Ifedi has to pick up the cadence, the calls, the timing with Tua, and fast, Melifonwu is thrust into live reps before he's full go. Phillips is still fragile. Every shift here isn't just positional, it ricochets. This is less sturdiness, more resilience relying on adrenaline and next-man-up optimism. Fans are out there saying, relax, they'll figure it out. But once game 1 hits, there's no rewind. If Jackson isn't in sync, if Ifedi lags a step, if the safety group hesitates, quarterbacks will find cracks. If Phillips gets nicked again, who's coming through the interior? This isn't rhetoric, it's design. The line neutralizes chaos. The second level rebounds hits. When injuries stack, it demands more than depth. It demands durability. And the Dolphins have not folded. Signing Ifedi wasn't scrambling. Activating Melifonwu wasn't wishful. They're adapting. They're patching. They're reinforcing silently. That's the signal. They're not chasing shiny fixes. They're trying to stay alive. But under the surface, every move needs to prove itself. Jackson's return is billed as full strength by week 1. But is that optimism or a timetable they feel forced to say out loud? If Ifedi's transition feels crucial, if he's seamless, it's invisible. If he's not, the line stumbles. Melifonwu stepping in midstream. Can he handle full-speed reads? Or is he a placeholder until something shakes loose? And Phillips, he needs healthy months. Not stitches and scares. Pressure's mounting quietly. Every injury update feels like a test. The Dolphins don't need perfection. They need steadiness. They need weeks where nothing breaks. They need no flinch as bodies pile up. A week without change can feel like victory. Now think about the emotion. Fans crave reassurance. They want that feeling of continuity. When a starting tackle gets hurt, anxiety spikes. You want hope tethered to evidence. Saying Jackson will be back in time doesn't settle questions. It just raises them. When he returns, is he reliable? Can a fade mesh before live bullets? Defense is porous if bodies keep dropping. Melifon returning as a lifeline, but is he fully in or half in? A guy who disappears for a month and comes back, is he going to tackle like he did when he left? Phillips' bruise minor, say the team. But small cracks in a rehab arc become worries. How many small failures until it's a broken line? This version of the Dolphins isn't about flashy adjustment. It's about low-key survival. Clips tighten, roster phrase so. And they ask themselves, is it enough? That's the tone behind every move. Quiet reinforcement. Not bold headlines. Not dramatic pivots. But moves that whisper, we're still here. Still, the tension remains. Is Jackson on a realistic timeline, or is that wishful thinking? When a Fady steps in, will he carry armor or baggage? Can Melifon jump in without days of snaps? Can Phillips stay upright long enough to matter again? The calm around these questions isn't reassurance. It's waiting. Everything depends on how fast practice lines gel, whether bodies stop piling, whether minor injuries stay minor. Because by the time September 7th arrives, if the Dolphins haven't settled into something consistent, it might be more than a practice injury. They might be scrambling. And make no mistake, a shaky offensive line, a makeshift secondary, a hesitant pass rusher, that's the recipe for early season breakdown. The team seems ready to endure, not excel. They're reinforcing, not reveling. But behind every roster tweak is a question mark. And until they're answered, the tension holds. So go ask yourself, do you feel confident or cautious? Are we seeing the makings of a team that quietly knits itself together? Or one walking a tightrope, where one misstep topples it all? Because come opener, the Dolphins aren't waiting, they're being tested.